Feisty, fearless, and fair. She's an Emmy-winning journalist from the White House to war zones, telling all sides of the story. This is the Rita Cosby Show.
Lovely Rita, meet a maid. Nothing can come between us. When it gets dark, I tow your heart away.
Breaking news.
And tonight on the Rita Cosby Show, crime is so pervasive that we're just getting out that a Secret Service agent was robbed during Biden's California trip. We know that he went to California for that big mega fundraiser at the Peacock Theater, where they said they raised about $30 million. The president returned to his LA hotel room shortly before 9 p.m., and a U.S. Secret Service agent was robbed at gunpoint in the area about 9:30 p.m. in a residential community in Orange County. You can't make it up. Just as many people are saying, what crime? What do you mean? Well, now you have a Secret Service agent who apparently also fired his gun during the incident. It is being looked into, but apparently he was being robbed. The suspect left the scene in a car that has not been located at this point. Though some of the Secret Service agents' belongings have been recovered, thank goodness. And of course, we will keep you posted. But boy, this epitomizes just how bad crime is all over the country. And speaking of that fundraiser, wow, did Biden freeze up? There is a moment there when you watch the videotape, and I was watching it just when it happened, and I'm sitting there watching him freeze, and I look at President Obama, who's next to him, and he's like, come on here, Joe. Come on, Joe. It's like a little puppy dog that he is like pulling along on a string. And it very much reminds me of what's been going on with Jill Biden. You see it at so many events where she's like, come along, Joe. Come along, Joe. This is really embarrassing. It is getting so bad and it's getting so obvious. And there are people out there that are actually saying, oh, that's not true. That's a lie. That's not correct. How is that even possible at this time? It is absolutely correct. We're seeing it with our own two eyes. We can absolutely see what is taking place. And yet, at that moment, you see Biden sort of staring off. It's that sort of glazed stare. You see him sort of figuring out, okay, well, what's going on here? It was almost like what we see a couple times during the Normandy trip. I saw him pretty close up during the Normandy trip. I was there. And his gait was slow. He was walking. He didn't seem to be sort of walking like a healthy, agile man. Many of the veterans that I interviewed that were in their high 90s, early 100s, one of them 107, sharp as a tack. And yet our president is kind of meandering up there on the stage. So now today, the White House is coming out and saying this is all a lie, that we cannot believe what we're seeing with our own two eyes. Listen to what White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre had to say, because here is how she described the moment when President Obama goes over on the stage that we all saw at that big money fundraiser in Los Angeles. And she said, oh, he just was tapping him on the shoulder and bringing him along because they're chums. Listen to this.
Two instances in recent days where leaders, former President Obama and Georgia Maloney of Italy, they physically put hands on the president to guide him and show him, give stage directions. Are they doing that on their own, or has anybody asked them to run the show like that?
First of all, let me spoke to the most recent, right? And as we saw on Saturday, President Obama's office put out a statement. So I would refer you to that statement about what was being accused in those by others. And he said this did not happen in the sense of what people were saying they were seeing, right? Or what was being falsely reported that they were seeing. Let's not forget, President Obama, President Biden have a relationship. They are friends. They're like family to each other. And I think that's what you saw. You saw the president put his hand on the back of President Biden, and they walked off the stage after taking questions or at an event taking questions from Jimmy Kimmel. That is what you saw.
Do they think we are stupid? Do they think we're really stupid, guys? Because if you look at the video, first of all, can you ever imagine them doing that to President Trump or anybody, any other president? You know, can you imagine walking over and saying, "Oh, come on over here"? I mean, that would be such an insult. President Trump would be like, "Get your hands off me. I'm going to leave when I feel like leaving." He would be talking to the audience. He wouldn't just be sort of standing there in a gaze. It is getting more and more obvious. And it's not about age. It's about mental acuity. And I say that because I was just with all these veterans who were 107. They were sharp as a tack. It's not about age. It is about mental competency. And the job of the President of the United States is a tough one. And it ages you when you look at the stress, and you got to look at all the intel briefings that you get every day. That is going to age anybody, even the most healthy person. Barack Obama, when he went into the office, you know, he looked like a spry guy. He was playing basketball. He's in great shape. And when he left, his hair was like all gray. And same thing with President Bill Clinton. I saw Bill Clinton age before my eyes. I mean, it was very obvious. I was covering him every day pretty much. And you look at George W. Bush, all of these guys who are in good health, good physical condition, and yet certainly it ages you. That's just what happens with the job of the presidency of the United States. And you can't tell me tonight, guys, that Joe Biden is really able not only to run for president this go round, but to last another 4 years. There is just no way. I don't know who they're kidding. I honestly don't. I'm sitting there looking, and I saw him firsthand, and he walked like a feeble old man. He walked like a man who's having trouble walk when I saw it firsthand when I was over there in Normandy. And now you see it almost every day. You saw it in other scenes from Normandy. You saw it again in Los Angeles. And now he's supposed to debate next week with President Trump. That's going to be an interesting one. How's he going to pull through it? Maybe he will with whatever they did to him or whatever he did to himself before the State of the Union address. Because remember, he kind of came across as angry Joe Biden there. So maybe he'll pull it out. I don't know. We shall see. But in the meantime, Karine Jean-Pierre in the White House wants us to think we are all making it up, that this sort of feeble Joe Biden is a big mirage. And she even went to the fact today, I couldn't believe this, saying that they are deep fakes, that what it's like AI, that all these people are just have some AI filter and they're seeing something that's beyond their imagination. We're all seeing it. Why don't they just admit it? Because if they admit it, then they know the next step is who will they replace him with? And they certainly don't want Kamala Harris. That is for sure. Here's a little more of Karine Jean-Pierre. Can you get a load of this? Listen to her saying the video on the stage that we all saw with our own two eyes is a deep fake. That is such a bunch of hogwash. Listen to this.
There seems to be a sort of rash and edited to make the president appear especially frail or mentally confused. I'm wondering if the White House is especially worried about the fact that this appears to be a pattern that we're seeing more often. Yeah,
and I think you all have called this the cheap fakes video, and that's exactly what they are. They are cheap fakes video. They are done in bad faith, and some of your news organization have been very clear, have stressed that these the right wing critics of the president have a credibility problem because of the fact checkers have repeatedly caught them pushing misinformation, disinformation, and so we see this, and this is something coming from your part of the world, calling them cheap fakes and misinformation. And I'll quote the Washington Post, where they wrote about this, and they said how Republicans use misleading videos to attack Biden in a 24-hour period. And to their credit, we have a conservative Washington Examiner did call them out as well, calling out the New York Post. Ironically, several recent sheet fakes actually attacked the president for thanking troops. That is what they're attacking the president for. Both in Normandy, this happened, and again in Italy. And I think that it tells you everything that we need to know about how desperate Republicans are here. And instead of talking about the president's performance in office, and what I mean by that is his legislative wins, what he's been able to do for the American people across the country, we're seeing these deep fakes, these manipulated videos. And it is, again, done in bad faith.
What's in bad faith is telling us that it's a deep fake, that it's AI, when it's been happening over and over and over again. And guess what? The Biden White House put out the video of him on the stage. People that were there saw what happened, and yet they won't even admit that it happened. They want to make it sound like it's manipulated footage, and that it's just Biden and Obama being chummy on the stage, that he has to like lead him again, like a little dog, like a little puppy dog, like an elderly relative who, if you're like, oh, come on over here, mom, come on. I mean, this is the president of the United States. This is not the best look, not only for President Biden, but for the United States of America. And that's what this is really all about. We're going to take your calls on this in a moment, but I see Aaron calling in, of course, a member of the IDF from Israel. Aaron, great to hear from you again. How are you doing, first of all?
Thank God we're doing well. We're succeeding in our missions. And we have saved, as you saw in the news, the hostages. Thank God they were alive, and we were able to bring them home safely.
Aaron, that was an amazing moment to be able to get those 4 hostages out alive. We saw the footage. We saw the incredible guts and heroism of the IDF. First off, talk about just, there must have been just cheering in the ranks of IDF and all across Israel. I know America was cheering big time to find out these 4 were alive. What was the reaction from all of you?
Our reaction is the sky is not even the limit. It's higher. We are excited of that moment that we brought them home. But we still have a lot to do still to bring our other hostages home, from men, women to babies, infants that are still being held by these monsters, by these sick individuals.
Aaron, do you believe that there are other hostages alive? We pray that that's the case.
As we are Jewish, and every Jewish person, we don't testify, we don't come to conclusion that anybody's dead till we see a death. Hopefully they're all alive, and that's what we believe, they're all alive, till we see the person is not alive, unfortunately, anymore, that we had already a few times already.
I know, Aaron, the commander who was in charge of that raid to get the hostages, I know that he died. Talk about heroism. And it just also shows just how dangerous it is for you guys. There were 12 IDF soldiers I know that died, that were killed over the weekend. This is really dangerous stuff, and it continues to be for all of you.
It's the most dangerous place. Like I say it always. I'm an American citizen and Israeli. If the American hostage teenagers, half of them don't even know what's going on, don't even know why they're protesting, and the ones that do know why they're protesting, what they're protesting for, let them all just come into Gaza and stay there for a few days. Let all the gays and all those people that are protesting against Israel to come to Gaza and let them get treated to understand what means living in Gaza. When you see Muslims and all the citizens in Gaza, the Palestinians, they suffer each and every single day by the hands of the terrorist organization Hamas.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And it also just came out that the leader of Hamas recently was saying that Palestinian deaths, well, that's just basically a casualty of the situation, and that he actually thought it would help embolden Hamas with the world. Aaron, can you stick with us for a few minutes? We're just going to go to a quick break. I want to talk with you after the break. Can you stay with us for just a few minutes?
Okay, no problem.
Thank you, Aaron. We're going to continue with Aaron, an IDF fighter there in Israel, right after the break.
The Rita Cosby Show.
Long Island is more exciting than ever at Jake's 58 Casino Hotel. Get ready to zoom into some serious cash with Zoom Ball every Wednesday in June. Win up to $500,000. 1 point equals 1 entry. 2 lucky winners will be drawn at the top of every hour from 1 to 5 p.m. to play Zoom Ball. Discover the excitement at Jake's 58 Casino Hotel.
If gambling is a problem for you or someone, please call the 24-hour toll-free helpline at 877-8-HOPE or text NY.
Hey, it's Joe Piscopo. When you're looking for concrete materials for your next construction project, call Diamondback Ready Mix on Staten Island. This family-owned and operated business is the go-to supplier for concrete materials in New York, New Jersey, and the surrounding tri-state areas. My friends and experts from Diamondback Ready Mix are experts and fully licensed and insured in New York and in New Jersey to deliver ready-mix concrete to your job site. Give them a call today for more information at 718-650-5649, 718-650-5649.
It's the Rita Cosby Show.
And we continue now with Aaron, who is an IDF fighter, and he is talking directly from Israel. Aaron, how scared are you guys? Because there have sadly been a number of IDF Israeli fighter deaths lately. It's been really dangerous.
It's a very dangerous situation, but we have to defeat the enemy, and we have to defeat from the north and from the south. We have to defeat all our enemies, and we will defeat all of them. Yes, it is scary, but this is what we got to do, and we do it with all our integrity.
You know, you talked about from the north, there's concern that Israel may be on the brink of war with Hezbollah in the north. They're very fortified. You know, they're much more well-equipped than Hamas. How big of a concern is that?
I don't know. Somehow everybody said they're well-equipped. Iran, officially, everybody said they're also well-equipped. And look what happened when they attacked Israel. Russia, when they attacked Ukraine, everybody said they're well-equipped. Look what happened with Ukraine, with Russia. They were almost defeated. Look what's going on when we were attacked by the 6-Day War, by the Yom Kippur War. We were attacked by major armies, and we defeated all of them.
Yeah, Israel is still standing and standing strong. You guys are amazing, you men and women. We just have a few seconds left. Your message to America, Aaron.
My message to America is for all the college, first figure out why you're protesting, and then come and negotiate with the protest, because we will win you in negotiations. Now, for all our Jewish brothers and sisters, Am Yisrael Chai, and we will defeat.
Well, bravo, Aaron. Stay safe.
Rita Cosby is on. The Rita Cosby Show presents Back the Blue.
And this Back the Blue segment is sponsored by GoyaCares.com, because you are a precious gift from God. And this powerful story coming from O'Fallon, Illinois, where 4 police officers were recently honored at a city council meeting after they saved a disabled man from a burning building. The 4 men were awarded with the Meritorious Conduct Award for their acts of courage when they entered a duplex that was on fire to carry a man out. One of them, patrolman Chad Thinman, said that the only thought process was that all these people inside, they are getting out, not how they're going to get them out. It's they're coming out. We're going to get them out. There were apparently 2 men inside the burning home, and they shattered the glass door with a fire extinguisher to get inside. They were able to get one of the men to walk out, and there was another one in the bedroom. Apparently, the flames were raging, and they literally had seconds to spare as they were searching for the paraplegic man. That is when they said their training kicked in. One of them said, we need to stay lower where there's fresher air so we're not breathing in the smoke. Processing what gear I did have on at that point, I realized I didn't have the airway protection. I didn't have the heat protection, so I knew we had to work very quickly to get out of the residence before it deteriorated faster. Luckily, they located the man and were able to take him out. Both of the men survived with minor injuries, as did all 4 officers, and bravo for them and their great and heroic work. It is typical of the men and women in blue that we have on all of our cities and streets across this country. And I love doing our Back the Blue segment every show because it gets to highlight the best of our men and women in law enforcement. Well, we are talking about President Biden. And boy, by the way, if you just heard that call from Aaron from Israel, that was really extraordinary just to hear what they are going through firsthand. I love when Aaron calls in. I think it is so, so amazing. We're also talking about the Secret Service agent who now it turns out when Joe Biden was there in Los Angeles, well, a Secret Service agent was robbed. So it just shows that crime is happening everywhere. It doesn't matter, even if you're protecting the president of the United States. And speaking of the president of the United States, he was at that big fundraiser, and everybody is talking about the latest moment where he froze on the stage. It's so obvious. And President Obama, who was also at the fundraiser there because they need as much star power as they can get these days to raise money. And at that same fundraiser, there was George Clooney, Julia Roberts, Jimmy Kimmel. Well, you see President Biden literally walking Joe off, putting his arm around his shoulder and walking him off the stage like, come on over here, little boy. It is really, really sad to see because Joe Biden is the president of the United States. He's the leader of the free world. And all I keep thinking about is our adversaries. And speaking of which, in a matter of hours, President Putin's going to be meeting with North Korea's leader, Kim Jong-un. You know, imagine they're like sitting there going, did you see Joe get carried essentially off the stage in L.A.? Ha, ha, ha. I mean, that's what they're thinking. We need a vibrant, clear, articulate leader of the United States because weakness begets evil works by our adversaries. That is the reality. And right now, there's a lot of people who wish to do us harm. Here is Trey Gowdy, former South Carolina congressman, current Fox News host, with what he says Biden is capable or not right now.
It's sad, but I mean, they have bad facts. I mean, clearly, that is not the Joe Biden that I met 10 years ago. It is sad. It actually breaks my heart to say that. But Mike, he's not fit to run like a lemonade stand. I mean, it's not just that video. I can't understand him when he's talking. So I think what's going to happen is the country can judge for itself during the debates whether or not that person is capable of running the United States of America. And I say that we're all, Father Time is undefeated. You're not going to win that battle, but someone needs to step in and say, you know what, Joe, you've had a good run. We're going to run someone else. You're just not up for it.
And there is word that Democrats are going to be watching because this is one of the earliest debates in American history that's going to take place next week. It's going to be Thursday. And boy, we were talking with Bill O'Reilly earlier today on Katz and Cosby. He believes this will be the most watched American presidential debate ever in U.S. history because he says there's going to be a lot of drama. Will Joe be able to stand for the 90 minutes? Because now there's new rules that are saying they both will stand at some uniform podium. Joe wanted to sit at a desk and have notes and everything else. Luckily, CNN and Trump said no, and now they will be standing at a podium. So will Joe even be able to stand for 90 minutes? Is he going to be clinging to the podium? Is he going to be looking to go, which way? Where am I? Who am I with? Who am I? Where's Obama to lead me off the stage? It's going to be an interesting 90 minutes. That is for sure. They're also going to have microphones, certain microphones where you're going to be basically cutting the other person off. If somebody tries to interrupt the other, they will cut the other person's mic. They do not want interruptions. I think that that's a great disservice. I think there are people out there who say, oh, it's good because you get to hear policy. There are some pluses to it. But I think some of the most, powerful moments in debates, especially when you have two candidates like this, think about some of the crazy moments with Joe Biden or when he spoke off the cuff. When Trump said something back to him and he went, whoa, 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 whoa. You're not going to have that kind of a thing if they're suddenly going to be cutting off your mic. So I think it does a great disservice because sometimes the most natural and most honest emotions are the ones that are spontaneous. And it doesn't sound like they're allowing for a lot of spontaneity, but it still will be interesting nonetheless. 1-800-848-9222, everybody. 1-800-848-9222. Let's go to Pete in Staten Island. Pete, I understand you have a comment about Aaron who called in from Israel, the IDF soldier. Go ahead.
Well, Rita, I'll tell you, I give my full support to these people that are fighting for the rights of the Israeli people. Israeli is one of our biggest allies, and what we're doing to them is disgusting. I really think it's disgusting because we're not supporting the people that have been loyal to us for years. Most people live in the United States that are Israeli.
You mean you and I are, but Biden's not, is what you mean, right? The Biden administration.
Well, this whole thing is nonsense. I know in my heart that in November the tide is going to turn, and we're going to go back to having President Trump, who straightened out this country for 4 years, got everything stable out, and the man, he's got it in him. He's brave. He walked across that line with the little what was his name?
Little Rocket Man.
Rocket Man.
I knew what you were meaning. I know you meant, with North Korea. You're right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, 100% like that.
And Pete, if you look at the polls, he's doing great in the polls. There is no doubt about it. Pete, I always love to hear from you. Thank you so much. Let's go to Al in Yonkers. Al, your thoughts?
Oh, yeah. Hi, Rita. I wanted to say in regards to the Secret Service agent getting mugged or robbed in California, of course, there'd be an investigation, a thorough one. But if things turn out that it actually occurred, that he was robbed and he wasn't off duty and alcohol wasn't involved, he or she, you can't be surprised. California is a mess. Newsom has shown the nation that he's not ready for prime time. His predecessor left him with millions upon millions of dollars in a surplus financially, and now Newsom is running a huge deficit. It's a disgrace, and then crime in that city, in that state, is a disgrace too.
But you know what, Al? It's everywhere. It's not just California. I mean, it's everywhere. There are so many headlines about crime taking place. Look at all over New York. All over. I mean, every city. I'm thinking of Memphis, Philly. I mean, there's so many cities. Seattle, sadly, so many cities. And in the next hour, one of the things I'm going to talk about also is migrant crime. There have been these horrible cases of migrant crime. The case from El Salvador we're going to talk about in the next hour. But it just shows, when these Democrats say, what crime? What Biden freezing? It's like they're in La La Land. They want us to believe we don't see what we're seeing when we walk down the streets.
That's right. And in California, people, they're they're rushing out of the state. They're heading to Las Vegas. They're going to Arizona. They're going to, Las Vegas, Nevada. And the city mayors there are doing a terrible job. The congresswoman who just became mayor of L.A., she's showing she's not up to the job, Karen Bass. And that woman in San Francisco, I can't believe they haven't thrown her out yet.
Yeah, I think it's only a matter of time, Al. But I think you are spot on, my friend. Great to hear from you, Al. Let's go to Robert in Philly. Robert, your thoughts about the debate?
Hey, Rita, it's nice to talk to you. I hope you had a great weekend.
Yes, and by the way, and I hope all the dads out there had a great Father's Day too, everybody.
Real quick, my daughter got to take a ride on an F-18 today.
Oh, my God. How great is that?
Her life. I know. It was amazing. I got the pictures, but it was wonderful. But at any rate.
Bravo. By the way, before we go forward, you as a dad, you must have been so proud to see that. Wow.
I burst every time any one of my 5 kids does something great, man. It's just a wonderful thing about being a parent.
Bravo.
I still don't believe there's going to be a debate. I think the Bidens are going to keep trying to put more preconditions on it so that even Trump says, oh, this is ridiculous. But if there is a debate, I really don't see how Trump could lose, because all he's got to do is take his time where he can't be interrupted and tell us about the last 3.5 years. And then for the last maybe third of the debate, spend time talking about all the insinuations of corruption on the laptop. I don't see how Biden can answer any of that without sounding completely ridiculous, like the White House fembot, Corinne Jean-Pierre. I mean, you know what I mean? I do. Their bubble's smaller now. Nobody takes them seriously anymore. Am I wrong about that? I mean,
well, the problem is, Robert, that the White House, as you just heard, this whole thing that she said, oh, it's fake videos of him freezing. It's like even in some of the cases on the border, you hear the president say, well, it's the Republicans who aren't doing anything. That is all such a bunch of hogwash, but he will try to spin it. So that's why I actually think it's really a shame that they're not letting them interrupt each other, because it'll be like Trump will have his say. Maybe Jake Tapper and Dan Abash will interrupt him, because Jake Tapper seems to love to interrupt the president, although he might fact check.
You know what, Rita?
He might fact check Trump, but not Biden. We don't know that. You know
what, Rita? You know what?
His version of fact checking.
Everybody's talking about the risks that Trump has taken. Nobody's talking about CNN is taking a risk too. Them idiots don't realize that Trump can blow up Biden and CNN's credibility in one fell swoop, and there isn't a thing they'll be able to do about it.
Well, and by the way, remember with Caitlin Collins, when he did the town hall with her, he was masterful. I thought he did a great job, and she kept coming back at him and interrupting him, and he was very good and fast on his feet. I just worry that the stacks are I worry it's going to be against him. That's the only thing. And I worry that they're not going to allow him to correct what we will all be looking at and wanting to throw something at the TV set when Biden says, "Oh, it's the border, it's Trump, it's this,"
I'm not worried at all. I am not worried at all. He's got so much right and truth on his side that shrinking mainstream media bubble will not save Biden this time. But that's just my opinion, and I love kicking it around with you, Rita. Great show, and I'll talk to you next time. Have a great night, all right?
Thank you, and congrats on your daughter again, too, Robert, too, as well. We'll continue with your calls, everybody, 1-800-848-9222, and you're listening to The Rita Cosby Show.
It's The Rita Cosby Show. This is The Rita Cosby Show.
And coming up in the next hour here on The Rita Cosby Show, a blistering ad coming out from the Biden campaign saying, no surprise, President Trump is a felon. I guess he forgot to look in the mirror and look at his family tree with Hunter. We'll also talk about some stunning details of what happened with an El Salvadoran illegal who came to this country, part of MS-13, a ruthless gang, crossed the border multiple times, made it into this country, and killed an American mother of 5. And apparently he killed somebody in his home country, too. How did he get in? And this is the biggest nightmare tied to what's happening at our wide open southern borders. 1-800-848-9222. 1-800-848-9222. Meantime, we are talking about the debate that is going to happen next week. And the new ground rules there will be podiums, there will be no audience, and apparently there will be no interruptions. But there could be blockbuster numbers just to see if Joe Biden's going to stay awake for 90 minutes. 1-800-848-9222. Let's go to Norm, line 1. Norm, your thoughts.
My thoughts are, Rita, I think we're living out some serious Manchurian candidate type situation going on here.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
Yeah. I'm not certain that Joe Biden is he faking it? Is he? I mean, I read today in the Post, Miranda Devine. She kind of hinted that could be a possibility, that this is some kind of a setup. They're making him play the fool, and it's a whole psyops operation. Then they're going to keep him at Camp David for a week, coke him up, and present him. The thing is that I'm
prop him up like a stuffed doll.
Right, but the situation is, I think it may be more insidious. I'm not certain that the person that they're going to present or the creature that they're going to present on CNN that night will actually be Joe Biden. That's what I'm fearful of.
You think it will be like AI and its finest?
No, an actual a clone or a body double.
Wow, Norm, we're really getting into high tech here. This is really. By the way, what I will say, as someone who just physically saw him, and I've seen him for years. I mean, I met him first time in the 80s. I met him a number of times in the 90s. Beyond. I hadn't seen him in a few years until I just saw him about a week or so ago. The gait, and I'm talking about the way he walks, was so labored and so slow. It was very transparent to me. It was very obvious when you see it in person, and he looked glazed. He looked glazed.
Yeah,
I mean, I think that was the real Joe Biden there.
Yeah, but this is a Steven Spielberg production, Rita. So, I'm just saying, I mean, they got Hollywood's best behind this.
Well, that's going to take an Oscar award-winning performance if they're going to put somebody else in that situation.
Okay,
that's going to be one for the record books. And believe me, we are all going to be watching every little turn, every little twist. Who knows? Maybe they'll be demanding. Yeah. Trump is demanding drug tests and DNA tests beforehand.
That's right. He should get some DNA. It's too bad, Rita. It's too bad you couldn't get close to it. Maybe you could have gotten a DNA sample, and we could have compared it. And then you would have had some DNA sample we could compare with the clone that's going to be speaking at CNN, next week.
Yeah, we could have done our own investigation. You never know.
Right, we could have done an investigation.
Yeah, you never know, Norm. Believe me, it will be.
You never know.
It'll definitely be. Will the real Joe Biden or will the juiced up Joe Biden stand up? That's the question. Yeah, great. Who knows? We don't know which one we're going to see. We might even see the angry Joe Biden. Remember, he was screaming and pounding and all of that. Norm, thank you. Always interesting points. Let's go to BJ real quick in Queens. BJ, your thoughts.
Hey, Rita, good to hear you. These debates are a joke. No one's going to remember them come election time. They're already rigged. It's on CNN, Jake Tapper, not Trump friendly. He has the button on the microphones. He can shut Trump up anytime. But Trump's going to win the debate. The debate is not the problem. If we had a fair debate, we'd have one proctored by Larry Arnn from Hillsdale College and Mark Levin. But
wait! What about me doing it? Couldn't I also? I could also do that too.
You're very nice. I don't know, but I think you could do a good job.
Thank you. Hey, I'm not that nice during debates. You got to watch me in action.
This is Greg Kelly for Priority Gold. What does it mean to be America's precious metals dealer? It means that you're in touch with the hearts and minds of those who love this country, value our freedom, and want to protect the future. Priority Gold is that precious metals dealer. They've helped thousands of Americans back their retirement with solid gold and silver. Call Priority Gold at 888-506-6439. Receive free shipping, free storage, a free investment guide, and one of the best purchase experiences in the industry. Call now or go to PriorityGold.com.